world's largest customer, with more than $650 billion in spending last year, the United States government is putting our money where our mouth is to strengthen accountability for climate risk and resilience. These critical steps are already locking in vital investments in our infrastructure, delivering lower costs for clean energy, spurring good-paying union jobs for American workers, and advancing environmental justice in our communities. Folks, we're proving that good climate policy is good economic policy. It's a strong foundation for durable, resilient, inclusive economic growth. It's driving progress in the private sector. It's driving progress around the world. And the sum total of the actions my administration is taking puts the United States on track to achieve our Paris Agreement goal of reducing emissions 50 to 52% below 2005 levels by 2030. Let me just take a moment to emphasize how meaningful it is that I can say that. I introduced the first piece of climate legislation in the United States Senate way back in 1986, 36 years ago. My commitment to this issue has been unwavering. Today, finally, thanks to the actions we've taken, I can stand here as President of the United States of America and say with confidence, the United States of America will meet our emissions targets by 2030. We're racing forward to do our part to avert the climate hell that the UN Secretary General so passionately warned about earlier this week. That's why the Fund Emergency Plan for Adaptation and Resilience, PREPARE we call it, to help more than 500 million people in developing countries respond to climate change. We're already requested more than $2 billion for the PREPARE this year. I'm going to fight to see that this and our other climate objectives are fully funded. Today, as a down payment, we're announcing more than $150 million in initiatives that specifically support PREPARE's adaptation efforts throughout Africa, including Adaptation in Africa, effort that Egypt and the United States launched together in June. This includes support for expanding early warning systems to help cover Africa, broadening access to climate finance, providing disaster risk protection, strengthening food security, mobilizing the private sector, and supporting new training center in Egypt to accelerate adaptation across the efforts all across the continent. I'm pleased to announce today, alongside the European Union and Germany, a $500 million package to finance and facilitate Egypt's transition to clean energy. This package will enable Egypt to deploy 10 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030, while bringing offline 5 gigawatts of inefficient gas-powered facilities, reducing emissions in Egypt and power sector by 10%. We'll also work with Egypt to capture nearly 14 billion cubic meters of natural gas, which Egypt currently flares, vents, or leaks from its oil and gas operations. And because of this cooperation, Egypt is elevating its climate ambition and submitting enhanced national determination contributions. If we're going to win this fight, every major emitter nation needs to align with the 1.5 degrees. We can no longer plead ignorance to the consequences of our actions or continue to repeat our mistakes. Everyone has to keep accelerating efforts throughout this decisive decade.